And I didn't understand astrotheology at the time. I didn't understand really essentially what religion was because I did not understand astrotheology. The understanding of it as a controlled paradigm, as a mind control system that the people of this planet are under. General population doesn't understand what Satanism really is. That it's not the worship of the Christian archetypal entity of the devil or Satan. The survival of the physical being, the survival of the body, the survival of the ego is put on a pedestal above all else. So it doesn't make a difference what you have to do to ensure that survival. It doesn't make a difference what you have to do to ensure your current level of social status either. You can step on people that are below you. You can be as ruthless as possible. It's cold-bloodedness. It's dog-eat-dog worldview. And you have to come out on top regardless of what you have to do that. It's essentially the worship of the self and self-preservation coming before anything, most of all, morality. You know, do what you have to do to get ahead, and whoever has to get stepped on in the process, so be it. The world is in a satanic mindset. Most people of the world think like this because this is an extension of what you might call social Darwinism. You know, so a vast swath of the population actually is engaged in satanic thinking and doesn't even understand it to be Satanism. They think that they are just normal individuals engaged in just their own belief structure, their own belief system, but really what they actually believe in a very deep way is Satanism without actually applying the word or the term to the belief system. Satanism is most certainly a dark and false religion. The power positions in government, positions where they have some level of control over other individuals, where their decisions are affecting greatly the lives of other individuals. And therefore, they naturally gravitate to a lot of these social institutions and occult organizations like this. When I realized that what this agenda truly was about human slavery and keeping humanity under slavery indefinite, throwing away your life by going and trying to speak to the profane cattle, the profane human hordes, and they're not going to want to hear what you have to say, and they're not going to want to listen. Me. I have to come first. Screw everybody else. Dog eat dog world. You've got to do what you can to, step over the next guy, and be first in line, so to speak. And all it is essentially Satanism in a nutshell. That's all it is. And this is what people really believe deep down in their minds and hearts. And as long as the general population accepts a watered down or variant of the higher level satanic ideology that's really controlling the world, they will always be enslaved. The paradigm that we witness out in the external reality cannot change. Many of them want to come out in the open and just project who they are out in people's face and say, we are your owners, we are your masters, we are your rulers. There's nothing you could do about it because we have all the wealth, we have all the influence, we have all the power. And essentially, as long as there's people who are willing to do our bidding and follow orders and take a paycheck to essentially destroy other people's rights and freedom, we will forever own you. And they want to come out in the open and just make the slavery hierarchy that they're basically in charge of and ruling right now, they want many of them to make it an overt one, as it once was in the ancient past. There's nothing new about this system of slavery. It has existed since humanity has existed. The difference is right now it's covert, and they don't want it to be covert. They want a neo-feudalism worldwide hierarchy, a worldwide agenda of neo-feudalism, and they want their small social strata to be essentially the king of that new neo-feudal society. And I would say a lot of the symbolism that they're putting in pop culture and art and music, etc., is to essentially taunt people and say, we could bring this right out in the open in your face, and you still can't see it. The sheep, the cattle, as they call them, clueless as to how the world really works. Their name for them within Satanism, at least, is the dead. That's what they refer to the average individual as. People are ignorant, people are apathetic, and people are both lazy and cowardly in their behavior. That's the first aspect of consciousness. If you don't have developed knowledge, if you haven't taken knowledge into yourself, okay, then that's total ignorance. In the state of knowledge that we exist in the world, with knowledge present everywhere around us, those of us who refuse to take in that knowledge and weed down through it and grasp it and understand it and then start putting it to use in our lives are willfully ignorant. That's not the society that human beings live in. They live in a society where we're drowning in knowledge. There's so much knowledge, it's almost hard to weed through it to acquire what you really want and need in some cases. Yet people are still willfully refusing knowledge, willfully choosing to remain in their comfortable state of ignorance. The second is apathy, caring. Care has to drive your desire to know. Care about what's going on. If you don't care that the world's coming into a state of slavery and people are losing their rights and freedoms, well, that's the second aspect of consciousness. This is the spiritual aspect of the being that is deadened and not working, that people don't have care. They are in apathy because you don't know and you don't care. That's the deadness of right action in the world. So that's being lazy and cowardly, not taking right action. To live people, we're doing this to the dead, which is what they call the average person who is. Do I kind of see most people in that way? I don't see many people in an awake state personally. I understand why these psychopathic people who are essentially ruling the world see others like that. Vacation to see them like that because they're not really changing and awakening the levels of consciousness that need to be awoken in order to stop these individuals. Psychological warfare tactic. Being in control or being a order giver or being somebody who wants to control other people as well. And then you have very right-brained approach, which is we can't really stand up and take any action, real action in the world. We just have to do this through meditation or prayer or visualization or other new age variant mindsets, etc., or energy work. A covert and soft form of slavery as the status quo, the way things are. Literally, there's billions of people on this planet who give their ideological support for violence and slavery every day. Order following as the most significant evil state of mind that has ever existed and continues to exist. And just think about the numbers of order followers that exist worldwide. The amount of people who are told what they should do and do it without actually ever questioning. How many people really truly know deep down inside themselves the moral difference between right and wrong behavior? Hundreds of millions of people who are direct followers of orders that constitute a standing army, in many cases a militarized standing army living amongst their population. Then you extend that to how many military people exist for every single individual country on the earth. How many people are mindless government employees on a day-to-day basis, taking an order from a superior above them who's giving that to them, and then they're saying, yes, sir, I carry out this order, and then I give my orders to the people who are below me. Literally billions of people. I would say over half of the human population are order followers. And I would say probably a good 10% of them, minimal, are hardcore, brainwashed order followers who will do any order no matter how immoral it is. War crimes tribunals at Nuremberg, and it didn't fly there, and it shouldn't fly in modern society if we're truly moral individuals, if we are individuals who have some sort of ethics and really do know the difference between right and wrong. The vast majority of them are still in that lower state of consciousness where they act in many cases as order followers or ideologically support the dynamic of order following. I think there are other intelligences among us, for sure, for certain. I've had sightings at close range myself, and really the UFO and alien intelligence field of research is what really started opening up my mind. Powerful and positive areas of light occultism and dig deeper into the human psyche and look into the spiritual domain, because I realized this couldn't just be about a nuts and bolts phenomenon of, metal craft. There's so much more to it than what, in many cases meets the eye. The idea of a prime directive being don't interfere with the development, the spiritual and social and cultural development of other cultures, because more advanced culture make a directive like that. Well, think about it. At some point, how long do you look at a crime being committed? How long do you look at slavery ongoing, or a kidnapping or a hostage situation ongoing, and not get involved, which is really what this situation on Earth is becoming, or has already become. Satellites would have been fried, global communications would have gone down, and global power would have gone down for a large majority of the planet, and probably not been able to be reestablished for a time period of between 5 to 10 years, 5 years to a decade. people being in large metropolitan regions without power. That would have been an apocalyptic situation, so-called. It would have been a very cataclysmic situation, because we rely so much on modern technology for things as basic as sanitation, waste removal, refrigeration of food, communication, computer communication, etc. So that would have ended society. That would have ended human culture as we know it, for the most part. And you'd probably see a big drop in population and a radical restructuring of, Earth's geopolitical structure and possible paradigm in thought. Geological upset, super volcanoes erupting, global thermonuclear war, non-human entities deciding to make themselves publicly known. And of all these so-called outside shocks, I think the most likely thing to do it is the sun. I've said this before, or alluded to it before, but I don't even think that it's a matter of if, it's a matter